forests of Maine, there was a terrible secret that only a few could grasp. The legend spoke of a village lost in darkness, where time stood still, and the inhabitants disappeared without a trace. The village of Vanishing, as the locals called it, was unable to appear on maps, but many said that in the dense forests hiding their secrets, it existed. One evening, a young man named Jake, who decided to go on a journey, heard about the mysterious village from an old cowboy in a tavern in the middle of the forest. Despite the warnings, he couldn't resist and set off in search of Vanishing. After long hours of wandering through overgrown paths and ominous fields, he stumbled upon a mist-formed outline of an unknown settlement. The village was immersed in darkness and silence. Only a quiet whisper of the wind spread among the houses. Jake felt that something sinister pierced the air, and suddenly heard a rustle behind him. He turned around and saw a momentary flicker of a figure disappearing into the darkness. Several minutes passed, but Jake couldn't find any traces of living beings. Despite this, he felt an inner voice persistently telling him to leave and not return. However, curiosity got the better of him, and he decided to explore the abandoned houses. Inside each house he found traces of a similar scene: dark walls, dusty furniture, and silence. But one house stood out from all the others. On the wall hung a portrait of himself. Enthralled and alarmed, Jake approached the portrait, feeling a strange magnetic pull. The eyes on the painting seemed alive, gleaming with a mysterious light that seemed to pierce his soul. He couldn't tear his gaze away from the image. It seemed like a mysterious reflection of himself, but with a sinister undertone. In that moment, Jake felt the house fill with a strange presence, as if an unknown force began to wrap around him with invisible threads. His heart pounded harder, terrifying him to the core. He heard a faint rustling behind him and turned around to be met with a ghostly vision, his own face distorted with horror. Frantically breaking free from the grasp of the unknown, Jake rushed towards the exit, feeling his shadow stretching behind him, trying to ensnare him in its embrace. The strange portrait was the last thing he saw as he left the cursed house. Since then, the legend of Vanishing became much more terrifying. Now, the locals spoke of the house with the portrait taking in every unsuspecting seeker, depriving them of freedom and mysteriously consuming them. The village continued to remain hidden from maps and people's memories, but the chilling whisper of it lived in the hearts of those who dared to delve into the darkness of the forests.